Hey YouTube, Rob again, back and bringing you another video. No, just doing another sort of end of the month update, DVD Blu-ray update for December 2013, just before we start 2014, which is this year's going pretty fast, like they always do, I think. Anyway, so I've got extra Blu-rays and DVDs to show you. I've only got a few here, so hopefully the video won't be too long, and you don't have to listen to me ramble on too much. Anyway, first of all, I've got a few sort of horror ones here. A few new releases. Oh, well, the films are old, but the new packaging anyway. A local sort of cinema cult. I think that's the name of the series or whatever. So I've got The Burning here. Very nice sort of covers actually on these. So I've got three of these. So yeah, very nice sort of covers. This is a film that I have heard a lot of people recommend, mainly Andrew Balliner. I reckon it's one of the best sort of slashes that he's ever sort of seen, so I decided to pick it up and give it a watch and see what it was like. So I actually really quite enjoyed this one, actually. I thought it was really good. It did sort of remind me a lot of Friday the 13th, which I guess a lot of people already, I guess a lot of people sort of make that statement. Very sort of similar sort of premise to it. But I have sort of read somewhere that the people that made this film reckon that they sort of, wrote the script before, Friday the 13th came out. I don't know if you want to believe that or not. But it is a very sort of similar premise to it. Basically sort of set in like a summer camp, and at the beginning of the movie you sort of got these kids and they sort of play a prank on the caretaker, the creepy caretaker, and he ends up sort of burning alive. That's just probably what's called the burning. And then of course 5 years later he comes back for his revenge back to the summer camp, to seek a bit of revenge. But it was a very good movie though. I actually quite enjoyed it. Really sort of like the characters in it, and sort of really good sort of gore in it, sort of over the top bloody gore, and some really cool kills. It's actually got a few stars in it too. It's got Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. He's quite young in this, and full head of hair, and a little bit thinner, I think. Looks not bad looking, I suppose. Actually, he's pretty suave looking guy in his younger years. Also got Holly Hunter. I think she's only she plays a very sort of small part. Plus a few other people as well. I just sort of thought the acting was pretty good too. I think it wasn't necessarily the best acting, but I have seen a lot worse acting wise in terms of these sort of movies. I just thought it was really good, really sort of fun movie. I thought, so that's the Burning. Next one's called Dead and Buried, well, with the same sort of packaging. Another sort of film that I thought was pretty good. The town's called Potter's Bluff. And basically just sort of got every time a sort of a stranger comes into town, or someone's passing through, they do sort of end up getting killed. I think sort of guessed by the local townspeople sort of thing. But I thought it was actually pretty good movie. I thought we sort of got to the sheriff, and he's trying to sort of find out who's behind all this, and we do sort of eventually sort of find out. I think it is sometimes it's sort of a bit obvious on who's behind it all, but I think the trailer does sort of spoil it, I think. So if you don't necessarily want to know much about the movie, I think it's probably best to stay clear of that and just sort of watch it afresh. But I thought it was actually really good. Some nice sort of kills to it, and good sort of story. I think it does sort of drag a little bit sort of in the middle. But I definitely did like sort of the end, sort of the great big reveal on who was behind it all, and it's definitely, well, it was pretty good though, I thought. So that's Dead and Buried. Next one's the original Maniac. I had sort of watched the remake with Elijah Wood a few weeks ago, and I've got to be honest, I didn't like the remake much. I know a lot of people do like that movie and thought it was really good, and but I've got to say, I didn't like that movie at all, to be honest. I found it a little bit silly and wasn't that great in my opinion. But anyway, But this actually, I mean, this wasn't necessarily any better, I guess. I'm pretty sure I actually might have seen this one before, I think. Years and years ago, I think. I can sort of remember certain scenes from it. Mainly sort of the scene with the nurse when she's sort of running through the subway, trying to get away from the killer. Pretty sure I've seen that before. You've got the main character, Frank Zito, played by John Spinell. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's a bit had a bit of a sort of traumatic childhood, and he sort of goes out at night and sort of kills women, sort of thing. He's a bit sort of messed up, and sort of has mannequins at home, which whenever he sort of kills one of his victims, he sort of scalps them and gets their hair and sort of puts it on the mannequins and in his room, and sort of talks to them, sort of thing. But I thought it wasn't too bad though. It had sort of some really nice sort of kills to it, and good sort of story. I did sort of hear that some of the female actresses are actually sort of ex-porn stars. I think they got them because they were supposedly supposed to be cheaper to hire than sort of getting real actresses to sort of play the roles. But I thought it was actually pretty good though. I thought a bit slow, I suppose, in some areas, and it was definitely was sort of fun sort of watch though. So that's Maniac. The next one's actually the Addams Family, I think from 1991. I'm pretty sure Jacob Taylor was talking about this. I think he said it was one of his sort of favourite sort of films. I think it's this one he was talking about. I'm not sure though. I think there's a few different films, I think it's actually. This is a sort of a fun watch though. It's got some sort of stars in it too. It's got Angela Houston, which I thought she was actually quite sexy, even though she was a very sort of morbid sort of character. You got Christina Ricci playing Wednesday. Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future movies and a lot of other movies that he's sort of been in. Raul Julia, I think it's the Gomez. Obviously you got Cousin It. I think he's not actually there, and you got Lurch and Thing up there. But I thought this was sort of a fun watch. You sort of got Uncle Lester, and he sort of Gomez and him had a sort of fight a long time ago, and he sort of disappeared for quite a while, and he sort of supposedly comes back, but it's not actually him now, it's someone else just trying to sort of scam them out of their money. So he's sort of got to pretend to be Uncle Fester, and so he can sort of try and steal their money. But definitely a sort of fun sort of movie. I think it's pretty sure there's like a sequel to this, I think, too, which I should probably track down and give a watch one day. So that's the Addams Family. This one's actually a bit of a, someone might say a bit of a classic, bit of a maybe a lot of people don't sort of talk about it. It was quite popular when it sort of came out, and people sort of almost, I suppose, some people sort of forgotten about it, I suppose. It's called War of the Roses. It was actually directed by Danny DeVito. Stars Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas. This is sort of the third film that they sort of did together, these sort of three actors. Well, this is like the third film they sort of made all together. The first two was obviously Jewel and Nile and Romancing the Stone. But I actually did quite enjoy this one. I think didn't necessarily like the first half necessarily as much as the second half. But it's just essentially it's kind of just it's a movie about sort of a marriage breakup, I suppose, and a divorce, I suppose. Like they were sort of, these two are sort of, at the beginning of the film, they sort of get together and they're really sort of happy and they get married, and I think after sort of I think it's 18 years, Kathleen Turner's getting a bit sick of Michael Douglas and I don't know, I guess in some ways all the sort of the little things that he does, sort of thing, and so she sort of wants a divorce, and he doesn't want a divorce, so they sort of start divorce proceedings, and because they sort of both want the house, and they're too stubborn and they just don't want to give up, so they just basically just sort of spend the movie just sort of being horrible to each other, and it's quite a sort of an interesting watch though. I think some of I suppose they sort of, instead of getting divorced, they sort of declare war on each other, which I suppose is why it's called War of the Roses. But I actually thought it was actually a pretty good day. I think some of the acting I thought probably wasn't necessarily that great. I think Danny DeVito and Kathleen Turner's acting was a little bit off in certain scenes, I thought. They weren't sort of quite believable, I suppose, in some ways. But definitely a really good movie though, actually quite sort of fun, and very sort of, sort of black comedy, very sort of cruel to each other in some ways. But so that's War of the Roses. Second last film, another DVD. I film that people are probably going to say, well, you know, what the hell did you buy that for? But I do know for a fact that there are a lot of fans of this particular movie. I've got Spice World, the movie, basically because I was sort of curious to sort of find out what it was all about. Obviously, I sort of grew up at the time when the Spice Girls were really famous, and wasn't necessarily a fan of theirs, I suppose, but I'd never sort of seen the movie. I had sort of heard a lot of people, you know, talking about it, and you know, but yeah, I'd never actually sort of watched it, so I decided to pick it up and give it a watch because I was a bit sort of curious about it. It's a film that gets absolutely shit on though, but it does get really sort of bad reviews, and I think it's got 3.8 or something on, or 3.5 on IMDb, and just really bad reviews, and apparently it won a lot of is it called, what do you call it, like the Razzie Awards, whatever, Razzie Awards, you know, for worst film, and you know, sort of worst acting, and worst screenplay, and I think it even gets like worst songs, which I thought was quite surprising, considering the Spice Girls have bloody well sold like, you know, 40 million copies of their album, but I'm pretty sure the songs aren't that bad. But I actually thought it was actually a really good movie though, really. I mean, it was obviously a bit cheesy, and sometimes I had sort of heard it's a bit of a sort of a takeoff of the Beatles movie, the Hard Day's Night, very sort of similar sort of storyline to what I suppose to it. But it does have a few sort of stars on it as well. Like, obviously you got the Spice Girls, but you also got a few sort of British comedy stars as well. You got, you know, Stephen Fry, and Jennifer Saunders, and Alan Cumming. You got Richard E. Grant, George Wendt, Roger Moore, Elton John, Barry Humphries. But I thought it was actually, you know, pretty good though, I thought, really. I mean, I suppose the sort of the storyline is not all that great, but I mean, within that storyline you've got a lot of sort of, you know, comedy, and sort of, you know, girls having fun doing certain things, and yeah, the film's more about, you know, the girls, not necessarily about the storyline itself, I think. But it was, you know, some really good sort of one-liners in it, and some good sort of comedy to it, and it's a very sort of fun sort of movie, I think. Yeah, so I don't know, I don't understand quite what the hate was for it, really. Fun and cheesy, but it was still, you know, had some good jokes in it, I thought, so it wasn't all bad, you know. So that's Spice World, the movie. And finally we've got DVD, just an animated movie. I'm pretty sure I said it before a long time ago, but I did sort of want to rewatch it again. That's The Sword and the Stone, I think from 1963 or something like that. I think 1960 something anyway. This wasn't a bad sort of watch. It did sort of end abruptly though. I thought the end could have been done a bit better. So it's just sort of about this young boy here named Wart. He's like an orphan, and sort of not necessarily treated very well from his adopted father and his real son, sort of thing. But the kids just sort of met up with Merlin, and Merlin knows he's you know, sort of destined for better things, and they just sort of end up, you know, obviously pulling the sword out of the stone, which is because I think the story is that the king died, I think. So, and then and no one sort of knew who was going to, you know, be the next king. So from heaven, I think this sword came in and sort of stuck itself in the stone, and whoever can pull out the sword out of the stone is going to be the next king. So, and which the boy does do that, but no one sort of believes him to start with. He was the one that actually sort of pulled out the sword from the stone. You also sort of got the sort of famous sort of fight scene between Merlin the Wizard and the Witch Mim, where they're sort of changing to different creatures, you know, pink elephants and mice and all these different sort of creatures and stuff. It's really sort of fun. It's kind of like sort of Fantasia, I guess, sort of in some ways, I suppose. Sort of changing to different creatures and very colourful type thing. Definitely wasn't a bad movie though. But as I said before, perhaps it just sort of ended a bit too abruptly for me though. That's the only thing, you know, I didn't necessarily like about it too much. And I think also that the voice of Wart here, or Arthur, his voice does sort of change throughout the movie, which I have sort of heard. I think because the boy, well, I think I heard. I think there's actually two different actors that do it. I think because the film took so long to make, the boy had actually sort of reached puberty sort of halfway through the movie, so his voice did sort of change a lot, and for some reason I sort of decided to sort of get another actor to sort of come in for the second half of the movie to sort of voice the character, which I'm not quite sure why they did that exactly, but anyway. But definitely, yeah, it was definitely a good movie though. Nice sort of Disney classic animated movie. So that's Sword in the Stone. Yes, that's my sort of quick, or semi-quick movie update. Just some stuff that I sort of bought recently and got around to watching. So thanks for watching. It's probably a bit late, but Merry Christmas to everyone out there, and Happy New Year, and good luck for 2014. And yeah, that's it, I think, for now. Again, I'll be back very soon with another video for you. So till then, bye.